Today, Peter, standing by.
Thanks very much indeed, Palesa. Yes, indeed. Let's refocus on this day that's being celebrated and marked around the world. And it comes at a time when South Africa, as you might have heard earlier on, has slipped 3 places on the Reporters Without Borders' index on press freedom. And we're now currently ranked at number 31. A little bit earlier on, if you were watching, I spoke to a journalist in Namibia who represents, of course, a country that topped the rankings this year. But on the other end of the scale, unfortunately, are countries like Somalia and Sudan. And in fact, Sudan did so badly, they finished 175 out of 180 countries. So the question is, just how difficult is it being a journalist in Sudan? Let's find out now from Sudanese journalist Sahar Haj Amin, who joins me now on the line. Sahar, thanks very much indeed for joining us. Welcome to the program. Perhaps you can start by telling us just how difficult it was to be a journalist under the Bashir presidency.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank you for your follow-up of the political events in Sudan and the time of revolution. And shedding light on the journalist challenge within the current revolution, I would like also to tell you that me as a Sudanese professional and independent journalist, actually we follow up the revolution since the beginning in the last December up to it reached its peak in the 6th of April until conduct a peaceful national revolution by ousted the ex-president Omar al-Bashir. We follow up all the levels with professional and total neutrality. In the time of al-Bashir, we as a journalist suffered repression, execution, and detention, and accused us we are sitting in the side of the revolution, as the revolution, the opposition of the last government. And nowadays we still suffering also, but this time from some groups within the administrators accuse us with incredibility and working for others to put down the revolution. Actually, we try just to relieve the trust in the administration. And several times we're trying to contact some media offices for the Forces of Change and SPA in Sudan to ensure the safety of journalists. And a few days before a week, I think, one of our colleagues, he is a reporter, was beaten, and some of people called themselves a revolutionaries, but they aren't, of course. They smashed his camera. Yesterday, also, one of our colleagues, who is a reporter of Al-Ghad channel, was beaten near the administration square. So we contact me and some of the professional journalists, contact the media officers to stop that corruption and that disturbance of the journalists. And just today morning, I received a response from the coordinator, the media coordinator of SPA, the Sudanese Professional Society, Mashair Ad-Darraj. She told me that they form a special committee to ensure the safety of journalists, and the private interest was provided to journalists also. I think this is a positive step toward media and journalism in order to enable us work in a good weather and produce a good professional news for all over the world, not just for Sudanese people.
All right. So, Sahar, from what you're saying is that even today, your lives as journalists are still in danger from the authorities. Have they said anything?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Have they said anything about changing?
Yeah, they say the Forces of Change has answered us that a great number of demonstrations people participate from all over Sudan, different states, 100, 1,000, maybe million of people were crowded there in front of the general headquarters building. So they said it's impossible to control all people there, but they try to find a committee ensure the safety of the media and journalism. I think this is a good plan as the first step to help us as journalists and ensure our safety.
So this year's theme for World Press Freedom Day talks about preserving democracy, and especially during elections. I wonder if the journalists in Sudan feel safe that during this transitional period that you'll be able to report freely and help preserve or create democracy in Sudan.
I think that is a normal thing in such case. Sudan now faces a kind of out of control situation. MTC cannot control even the forces of change. There are some people and some troops come to make a corruption and try to drop out the demonstrators. Some people said that there is some eminence of the last regime try to fail the revolution. I mean, in such an ambiguous situation, which we cannot determine a place to control all these people, we as a journalist is still in danger. But we hope that the forces of change and SPA within their committee, specialist committee, can success and ensure our safety.
You've described the changes that are taking place in your country as the revolution. How difficult has it been to tell the story of the revolution? We see those images of the woman wearing white, Salah, talking to people. Has it been easier to report the stories, or has it been a process over time?
It is not easier, but it is not impossible. You know, me, myself, I go since the beginning to the square of demonstration. I help some colleagues from BBC English and some other journalists. But, you know, in such case, you need for patience and a wise way to deal with people there because, you know, they get up with anger. They think some eminence of the last regime in media, in all aspects of life, is still there, and you try to ensure that and reflect for them a good intonation, you know. And I always advise my colleague like this: just be patient and have a good, wise way of speak with these people.
All right. During the Arab Spring, and particularly in Egypt, we saw that female journalists were particularly vulnerable. Has it been difficult being a female journalist, a woman journalist in Sudan? Is there extra difficulties for women?
In Egypt revolution, there was some negative phenomenon. And there was also people suffered violence. A good and intelligent thing that occurs in our revolution in Sudan, no one talking about violence, no one talk about enhancement. All people sat together and just looking for their revolution and try to have a peaceful national revolution. And that was really a historical instance of all Sudanese people.
All right. Sahar Haj Amin, we're going to leave it there. Thanks very, very much indeed for joining us and sharing your thoughts from a very difficult situation, Sudan. Shukran.